What if I told you that one of the largest economies in the world doesn't officially exist? It doesn't appear clearly in GDP reports. It doesn't file taxes properly, and yet it feeds millions, employs billions, and quietly influences global finance. This is the shadow economy, and it may be far more powerful than you think. When we think of the economy, we imagine banks, stock markets, corporations, and governments. But beyond that formal system lies a vast hidden network of cash payments, street vendors, informal workers, unregistered businesses, and underground trade. Today, we're diving into the invisible economy that shapes prices, policy decisions, and everyday survival across the globe. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may start seeing your own city very differently. The shadow economy, also called the informal economy, includes all economic activity that operates outside official government regulation and taxation. In many developing countries, the informal economy can represent a massive share of total employment. In some regions, more than half of workers earn their income outside the formal system. That means millions of transactions happen daily without official documentation. No invoices, no payroll records, no tax contributions. And when such a large portion of economic activity remains invisible, it reshapes how governments collect revenue, plan budgets, and manage economic growth. The shadow economy doesn't just exist quietly. It affects prices in the formal economy. For example, if street vendors can sell goods without paying rent, taxes, or regulatory costs, they can offer lower prices than registered businesses. This creates competition that forces formal businesses to adjust their pricing strategies. In some cases, entire supply chains become partially informal, blending official and unofficial transactions. The result? Price signals become distorted, markets behave unpredictably, and economic data becomes less reliable. Governments rely on economic data to make policy decisions. But when a significant part of economic activity is hidden, policymakers are working with incomplete information. If income levels appear lower on paper, social programs may be miscalculated. If tax revenue falls short, governments may increase tax rates, pushing even more businesses into informality. It becomes a cycle. Weak data, fluid policy, economic pressure, more informal activity. The invisible economy doesn't just respond to policy. It actively shapes it. But behind every statistic is a human story. For many people, informal work is not a choice. It's survival. A single mother selling homemade food from her kitchen, a migrant worker sending cash home, a small repair shop operating without registration because licensing fees are too high. The shadow economy provides flexibility, accessibility, and opportunity. Where the formal system often fails, it absorbs unemployment. It creates income where none existed. It keeps communities functioning. In times of crisis, it often becomes the real safety net. However, there are serious risks. Workers in the informal economy often lack legal protection, health insurance, pensions, job security. Governments lose tax revenue needed for schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. And because transactions are harder to track, corruption and exploitation can thrive. What begins as survival can evolve into long-term instability. Now, technology is changing the shadow economy. Mobile payments, peer-to-peer transfers, and digital platforms allow informal transactions to move faster. Even across borders, in some cases, digital tools empower small entrepreneurs. In others, they make financial flows even harder to regulate. The line between formal and informal is becoming increasingly blurred. The shadow economy is not just a hidden corner of global finance. It is a parallel system influencing prices, employment, policy, and survival. It exposes the gaps in our economic structures. And it raises an important question. Is the shadow economy a problem to eliminate, or a signal that the formal system isn't working for everyone? The next time you see a street vendor, a cash-only shop, or an unregistered service, remember, you're not just witnessing a small transaction. You're seeing a piece of one of the world's largest invisible economies.